It's because I'm probably going to cough. So, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Scott from Six Sense Acupuncture and the Healthy Habits Club, and you're watching the Get Busy Living podcast with the wonderful Dominic. How do you pronounce it?
Papasergio.
Papasergio. Papasergio. I knew that. So, thank you so much, Dominic, for coming on and giving us some gold nuggets today. We appreciate that. So, thank you very much for doing that, mate.
No worries.
So I'll kick off with the first question. So tell us, Dominic, what gets you out of bed every morning?
Okay. Honestly, I'm going to say two things. First, the small furry dictators that I have in my house, they demand breakfast at sunrise. They have zero respect for my sleep or my creative genius. So they're usually my first alarm clock. I've actually got one of them sitting with me at the moment. But beyond that, what really gets me out of bed, now this is the serious part, and I'm not normally serious. So I've built a mission to build a drone company, Northside Hawk. I'm obsessed and borderline unhealthy with capturing perspectives and other things that nobody really sees. Unfortunately, it has just started raining. So that's it for me for a couple of hours because they're not waterproof. But what I do is I really live for a moment that when the footage sticks out and says, "Holy hell, I didn't even know that was possible." So I get up because I believe stories deserve altitude. Whether it's a wedding, a construction project, or a brand campaign, I like to trade mediocrity for majesty.
Yeah, and you're right. Go.
I was just going to say, the closing argument to that is I get out of bed to feed the cats, but I stay out of bed for creative work that flies higher than expectations.
That's magic, mate. That's magic. And so you. I'm going to get into what you do, but this is a latter part of your career, and that's you're a drone pilot, and but you initially you were a photographer. So,
Well, it was photography as a hobby, but I had pretty much started. I'll go through in the next question you've given me that explains where I've come from. But mainly because I got into IT, and back in the day, mid 80s. I'm 57, so I started school in the mid 70s. Got to the latter half of the schooling and got to your career guidance counselor, and the career guidance counselor saw that I had a great aptitude for math and had a tragic obsession with numbers. So back in the mid 80s, I was pretty much forced into computer programming because of my aptitude for it. And I did that for 30 years, and COVID happened, and I thought I want to find something that's more in tune with what I feel. So, and that really brings me to why and how I became I like to use the term landscape cinematographer with a flying camera, because I met a person on YouTube and I watched his videos relentlessly. And he said that you've got to add more emotion to it. You've got to really add things to make people feel the emotion that you give. And the guy does it with such ease. He's basically nearly the same. He's 2 years younger than me. And watching his videos, you're not watching a video, you're experiencing all of the emotions that go through with it. And I've had a real I'm not going to say obsession, but sad obsession. But aviation is one thing that has really grabbed me for since I was young. And when I was younger, I always wanted to be, the captain of a 747. And uh, being able to, rack up the flight hours and collecting tiny soaps and stealing all those bathrobes. But, life has a funny way of rerouting you sometimes. And as I said earlier, computer programming pushed me in that way. And I'll tell you a story. I was a impressionable 15-year-old, and the movie Superman 3 came up, and I sat there and watched it. And the character played by Richard Pryor was Gus Gorman. And when I saw that, he's sitting there programming and rounding off those fractions of a cent and putting it into a bank account, I got certainly hooked on computer programming and did that for a best part of 30 years, built computer systems and the other likes. And then we go fast forward to, 2020 and the looming COVID lockdowns and listening to that and then hearing that and then getting locked down. And all we could do was just sit in front of the computer like I'm doing now, watching YouTube. And I would watch things that were pretty much aviation related, air crash investigations. And then occasionally I'd drift into the other videos that I like of remote control cars and remote control planes. And the algorithm then just kept pushing me further and further and further. And it basically, and it went down to and then I found something called drones. And I'd seen, aerial adventures, things like that before. And I'd toyed with robotics when I was younger. But I really felt watching these, they're live streams, and watching live streams where other people get on and start talking about that. Then I got involved in it, and I've met so many great friends with it. And it's become pretty much of a family now. And I really started hanging out with people, and we were sitting here chatting, and I felt, this is a family sort of thing in a community. And started flying for myself, and then started trying to work out how I can turn this into a business. And I just went, yeah, I really enjoy this. And it's actually something that I've done that it's probably the first time in my life that I've actually enjoyed something. So I thought, well, let's see how we can go. So I did all the research and found out that you have to get various licenses and have to learn various rules, much like driving a car. So I got my remote pilot's license, which is the REPL, and that gives me a tolerance of I can fly anything up to 7 kilos. And the one that I generally fly, which is the DJI Mavic 3 Classic, it's only 900 and I think it was 910 grams. And that really puts me into a different category, because if you're under 250, you get a little bit more lenience. And then as you get over 250, more rules. And as you go up the levels, you get more rules and more rules hit there. So, and I'm really hoping that sooner, that I'll share this with a couple of friends and they'll enjoy watching it.
It's a bit like motorcycles. You under 250cc.
Yeah,
you can drive it. Pretty much anyone can drive under 250, and then once you get over 250, then you have to have a more a better license, basically more experience. And yeah, same again, more regulations.
Yeah, more regulations. And I know there are a number of people that I interact with regularly that I've met in this the this drone community, and they're motorcycle riders as well. And the chap I was talking about earlier that really piqued my cinematic interest also has a motorcycle, and he likes to do them up as well. So he does that, and then you've got people that do construction work. But for me, it's about storytelling, and motorsport is another thing that I would like to photograph from the air as well. But I've just realised recently there's a lot of paperwork that you've got to go through that I've noticed.
With motor racing.
And yeah, to become an aerial photographer or videographer in any of the motorsport events in Australia, you've basically got to get yourself a CAMS license. And going through that is very entertaining, I must say. You've got to satisfy certain things. I've already got the drone license. I've got the radio license to go with it, which is the aeronautical radio license. I have a public liability, but there are a few other little things that I need to attend to and go through all the certifications and everything I need to get that license. So
That's weird. I mean, if you got any
yeah,
insurance,
I've got the insurance. I need to get a working with children
okay, they
check,
call a
a
blue
police
card up
check.
here.
Yeah, because the first three I've got down, and it's the other two that I've just got to work on and get those.
Police check's easy.
Mm,
Up here we get a blue check it because I'm APRA registered. I don't have to worry about it. That's same with the police check because we have to go through a federal check. So it's not just state; it's federal. I was going to say, yeah. So yeah, you've been doing it for a while now, haven't you?
I've been doing this for base. Well, okay, I'll go right back to the start.
Lockdowns.
Yeah, lockdown. The first one and then after watching countless hours, I thought, okay, I'm going to look at the equipment. So I went out and bought what was called a Mavic Mini, which is a 250 grams, good beginner drone. So went to I think I bought it at the JB Hi-Fi, and then started researching more and found out that the company that I bought from in terms of DJI is actually the market leader in consumer drones. So then started watching more videos, and this is 5 years ago now because it was July 2020, and started watching videos, and the YouTube algorithm is just a sheer genius at picking out things for what me to watch. So I watched all these, as I said earlier, I watched all these live streams and started, becoming friendly with a lot of people, and then started getting an explanation of how to use it and what to use it for, and then basically learning how to actually use it with my photography knowledge as well. So fast forward another 12 months and DJI brings out a new piece of equipment called the Mini 2. So I went out and bought that.
That's
fast forwarded another 12 months. And
that's a 250 gram as well.
Yeah, that's a 250 gram, yes. And I'll go through the classifications after that, and then I'll just explain a few more things.
Yep.
Then we get to 2022, and I make friends with several people. One of them lives in Queensland, and he's a part-time truck driver, a great storyteller, a person that is probably a genius at video editing, and I learned a lot from him. He is also a very colourful character and does some really great videos. So we met up with him. He introduced me to a couple of other people. Then we went for a meet-up where 5 of us, and this is in 2023, and they explained you should get yourself a drone license, the radio license, and then start immersing yourself into getting to that. So I spent another 12 months learning all that and researching all that, and that brings me to November of last year, where I actually achieved the license. I did the aeronautical radio operator certificate after that, then purchased the DJI Mavic 3 Classic, which is a larger drone which can do more. It's got a larger sensor, more wind resistance, and that's where we have it at the moment, working my way into getting a few jobs.
So yeah, I remember watching that movie Superman 3, Richard Pryor, and he didn't even understand what he was doing. He was just saying, they'd ask him, "How'd you do that?" And he'd say, "Oh, I don't know." Like he'd cracked into the Geneva Convention. I can't remember. It was it was a military base, actually, the Pentagon. Yeah, cracked into the Pentagon. Cracked into the Pentagon. Didn't know how he'd done it. And they were like, "How'd you do that?" And then that's right. And then Lex Luthor found out about him, and then it goes on from there. So he was very obviously gifted in what he did, and I get it, because I thought the same thing. I thought, wow, I wonder if I could. But then I started doing it at school, because in those days we had DOS. So
tell me about it.
You had to put your instructions in, and
I know,
and you had to wait half an hour for something to happen. And I thought, but obviously for the movie he had access to bigger computers and faster computers and more technology. But so it sort of went away from that. But I knew computers was going to be the future. I could see that, and typing as well. I knew typing was going to be. I could see that was going to be huge
definitely
in the future.
So then I went off and did a couple of computer courses which taught me typing and a few other things. So it gets to a point where you think, as I said earlier, you just think you get to a point in your life and you think, what's next? And that's basically how I felt about this. And it's really it is the thing that gets me out of bed. Okay, I was real. Oh, I did say it a little bit funnier earlier because my cats wake me up. But if I didn't have this, I'd sort of like feed the cats and then go straight back to bed.
Yeah, I understand. What was I going to say? So you did. How long did you do the IT stuff for? Did you do it for a few years or for
probably
a decade?
Well, I floated between different parts of IT for the best part of 30 years. Programming, general consultancy, built computers and sold them at markets, and
that was if you could find someone that could do that, was like gold. Because it was really hard to get the bigger, especially in the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s. It was really difficult because the big companies charged so much money. They charged ridiculous amounts of money just to get a computer repaired. And when you found someone that actually did it at a market or something like that, it was like gold. It was like, oh, thank God. So I could see why you would do that. And so when did the photography come into it? Was it something that you did from an early age? Because from the 80s, you had to, the old, you had to buy specific cameras and And the same with the 90s.
Probably hit me in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And I just
They
started.
just started going digital then, didn't they?
Yeah. And I think it was more, you had the photo club at school, and we did media studies and the like, and it was just the fascination of being able to tell a story.
Yeah. And
And
I remember the old Polaroids.
yeah, Polaroids.
You have to
Yeah,
they've had a resurgence. They've had a resurgence.
yeah, they have actually. But just the fascination with that, and then the internet came in, and you had a fascination with taking photos and putting it on your putting it on a MySpace or things like that back in the day.
MySpace.
But yeah, as I said, and then as you progress up and you get older and these sort of things happen, the technology started really accelerating at a great pace. And
So
you
tell
had
us about that, because you had to adjust. So tell us about
yeah,
that, Ed.
and you basically had to adjust pretty quickly, because you'd go from a digital camera, and then the digital camera became action cameras, became phone cameras, and then you had smartphones, and then you have larger action cameras, camera gimbals, and then you have the professional gimbals that actually you can wear, and then you really look further than that, and then once you get an eye for drone photography and videography, you can watch a TV program and say, I know what that was done with. I was watching an English program called Death in Paradise, and it's the sort of thing that I found very very interesting. It has a great warmth to it, and you can see it's a police drama that is set on a Caribbean island, and the police station there is manned, and they have people going out, and because someone will, there'll be a murder or something like that, and you'll see the aerial shots, and you go, yeah, you can tell them. And the other thing is,
What drone they
yeah,
used, and what camera they used.
well, I would probably think it'd be the DJI Mavic series, or what is called the Inspire. Now, the Inspire is a very large drone, probably easily a meter by a meter. Mine are only probably that big, probably 30 centimeters at best. And these are professional ones that actually are called cine lifters, because they've got a professional camera on there, a full lens camera. And
And the attachments,
I've
is that what you mean?
was I?
And the attachments for the camera, because
Yeah, you've got
gotta have,
attachments on there, and you've got a nice little controller on them as well. And the main thing about that is it can take more wind, and it can do more video, and more professional video for the cinema. And I do believe that things like the latest Superman used something like an Inspire on it, because I haven't watched it, but I've heard a few things about it. And I'm trying to, there is a movie out that they said, was it Ambulance, or something called Ambulance, or something about ambulance, and that was actually done by various drone pilots, because I heard about that. But
yeah, right. And so you can tell what camera they've used in those
I'm pretty
series as
sure,
well.
yeah.
You can
And
narrow it down.
oh, definitely, you can tell by the color science behind it too. And some of them will be using the DaVinci's Blackmagic Studios, 6K cameras, and you can see DaVinci Resolve is probably the main video editing software. So
Yeah, right. So what is what? And when you say software, you mean is it like editing software?
it's
What do you mean by that?
editing software.
So they can edit while they're filming. Is that what you mean?
No, what happens is you do your run, and then you'll go back, take it back to the studio, get it onto a computer, and then just roll through it, scrub through it.
Yeah.
And
Cut the bits out that you want.
you'll do your specific shots, and then you'll just do general B-roll. The B-roll is just the cutaway scenes or other scenes to put in there that add value to the movie. Whereas the A-roll is the meat and potatoes part, where you get your nice little cutaway shot, then you'll get your ending, and then you'll just get the B-roll, which is the part in between.
Yeah, gotcha. So tell us more about especially when they came out with the do you use much with water as well? The waterproof cameras.
There are submersible drones, and
Really?
yes, like a submarine drone, so to speak, because you can actually go under and do the underwater shots as well. There are waterproof drones where you've got the thing encased in a mechanism, and it can float to get those shots. You can also have the waterproof case on them as well.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Have you ever done that before? Have you used that sort of equipment?
No, I have a camera that is compatible with that, which is a action camera. But the later models, which have just come up recently, actually have the facility where you can have a little pole in it, and it will sit on top of the water.
Yeah,
You've
right.
got, and the one good thing about the company that makes the drones, DJI, they have a complete ecosystem where you've got a vlogging camera, which you carry around with you. It's a small little camera that has a microphone on it, as well as various other microphones attached to it. Then you've got a professional, a mini mic wireless setup that I'm actually using to talk to you. They've also got action cameras, various level size drones. They've got the mini series. They've got the air series, which is pretty much the meat and potatoes area. They're the solid, dependable, not reliable, not remarkable. And then you've got the Mavic series, which is the prosumer level. The prosumer level is more for the cinematic videos. And then you've got the Matrice series, which is more the industrial level. And then you've got the Inspire series, which is for the main things to use for movie cinemas.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And they can be anywhere from $1,000. You can be coughing up $50,000 and $60,000 for some of these, but they do. You've got thermal drones. They'll do things for construction. They'll do things for what do you call it? Solar panel. They'll do things for search and rescue as well. So
yeah, I've heard about that, especially not so much here in Australia, but I've heard about that in the States and Europe. These solar paneling especially for solar paneling for their drones, especially in remote areas. They can pick someone up. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy. They just hover over them and put a winch down. They got to be able to do it themselves, but that's the only problem. If they're unconscious, they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But that's next level. That's pretty crazy.
I'm gonna answer another question on it because I think I've rambled on about other things. The next question you asked is, what would be your ideal avatar?
Client, yeah.
Okay. First off, I think we should retire the word avatar. I just that word just doesn't grab me when it comes to talking about your ideal client. And I'm really, and not wanting to sound negative here, I'm a person that is really tired of some of these buzzwords that go around. Because the first time I ever heard someone said, "What's your ideal avatar?" I'm going, "What are you talking about?" Avatar is a movie, and it sounds like I've got a blue tail and a VR headset on. But in all seriousness, my ideal client, in a perfect world, I'd love to get one of those cushy government jobs or NGO, non-government organisations that are funded by the government, sort of like a state-based transportation and tourism. God, I wash my tongue and I can't do anything with it. With healthy budgets and the taste for the cinematic storytelling. I've seen a lot of these done in the US, and I think Australia's really lacking at the moment. But Australia's always been that isolated part that's always been behind everybody else, even though we bat above our average in terms of making the tourism videos, and some of the movies that have come out and some of the movies that we've done that we've put on the world stage are great. But we need to do more of the Australian tourism about, and none of this, throw a shrimp on the Barbie and Foster's and all that sort of thing. I've
It's a bit out of date, yeah.
I've been part of several live streams, and I've been doing that for 3 years. One I do pretty much most mornings, and most of them are in the US, and some of them don't know the real value of Australia, and all we see is just a tenth of it. And people think that I take I've got a kangaroo in the driveway and I hop into the city, and they don't realise that Australia is not much different to them.
Oh, now come on! I stayed in Melbourne for a little while, and a place called Thomastown.
Yeah, they do.
I was walking down the street, and I was going to uni, and is this big red bounding down the parklands. I'm thinking,
oh, definitely.
He was huge. I was like, how the hell did you get in here? It makes me laugh. They came out with the slogan for what do you call it? Where the hell are you? Remember that? The campaign, and CUNT.
Yeah, see you in the NT. I actually know someone that lives. Yeah, I know someone that lives in the NT, and he always makes jokes about that. And
some other company actually got a hold of that because the government stopped producing them.
Yeah,
the shirts.
I've actually got one of those stickers.
Yeah, and they had beer, the beer coasters. They had T-shirts. They had all sorts of, and they sold out. They realized that everyone wearing them. See you in the
now. See, the one thing from a marketing point of view, that is probably one of the best things I've ever seen, because it was able to grab people's attention.
Yeah, well, it had a double meaning, and
and I found that very, very funny, because I said, I spoke to a guy that actually does area photography in Darwin, and he sent me one of those stickers, and I just had a good laugh at it. because Australia, and the other thing is that the people that I have met from the UK don't seem to understand how big Australia really is.
Yeah,
And they're talking. I'm talking to people that go from London to Manchester and think, oh, that's a long journey. And I always make the funny that, oh, it's just around the corner.
yeah. Well, yeah, and exactly right. And wouldn't you love to have done the new advertising for them
Mm,
with
I,
that sort of slogan? That would have been so
I,
funny.
I reckon, if the Australian government tourism is out there and watching this and listening to this, give me a call. Give me a call. I reckon I could do it for a tenth of the price, and I could get you twice as many people watching.
And bit of video, a bit of footage probably. Oh, so yeah, yeah, because I heard that a company actually took over their slogan. I don't know how they got it past the trademark,
Yeah, that's an
but they're still selling them. Apparently, there is a company that's still selling them.
yeah, and the I find it funny that the only way that they can get past the censors is using the word "see you next Tuesday,"
Yeah,
and and I've been on many live streams, and it seems to they don't seem to realize it, and especially if there is someone that I do a program with at Tuesday my time, and I always say, "Oh, see you next Tuesday." I think we've gotten off topic here, but
that's okay.
really, in terms of the ideal client, um, in terms of that tourism, yeah, and that'd be a sweet spot because I'd enjoy doing it. But at the same time, you know, I'm a realist and I'm a person that has no BS about it. I can easily slightly adapt my skills to doing construction videos, uh, progress videos, real estate marketing, and you can, as I said, you can do search and rescue. There are many things because I know someone that works for the SES in South Australia, and that's what he does, and I'd easily do that as well. But and I'm going to be honest here because I'm always honest and authentic, and I have to give an unfiltered answer to the question what my ideal avatar is. My ideal client is one that pays me the most money. And I don't want to sound like I'm a total mercenary, but if I'm still trying to find that niche, but at the same time, travel and tourism I think fits perfectly with me because I can tell a story. I can do some of my great food reviews as well, and just get around and show people why Australia is really good.
Yeah, that's true, and not just the NT. See
Yeah.
you in the NT, but
We can do see you in the NT, and then I think the really good marketing for Australia would be they could pay me millions of dollars and I'd give them the slogan Australia is good. That's all I got to say. And then it drags people to come to Australia to actually find out if it really is.
egg. Australia is good.
Mhm.
So um, so tell us about probably the your favorite place to film. What's the
One
place
place
to
I
film?
really enjoy, and it's actually in the Docklands. It's Ronda Racey Senior Oval, and it's just but it's in what's called Victoria Harbour. Now, Victoria Harbour is where the ferry goes from the centre of
Tasmania.
Melbourne to Geelong,
Oh, okay.
and it's
Yeah.
a nice little. It's probably about an hour ferry, and you go out under the Bolte Bridge and the Westgate Bridge, and probably two of the most famous bridges we've got here. And you go down Port Phillip through Port Phillip Bay down to Geelong, which is the sort of a main regional town.
It's
And
not really a town anymore, is it? It's
yeah,
so built up now. It's
yeah, I know.
crazy. Last
I know.
decade,
It's always a bit of there's always a bit of banter. There's always a bit of banter. I don't hate Geelong. It does come up occasionally, but no, I've got no. And then you've got the other side of the bay, which I think is a really beautiful spot. The Mornington Peninsula, all the way down to Rye, Sorrento, Port Nepean, which has a lot of historical significance because of the fort there. It was a military base back in the day. But the whole bay is just a beautiful spot. And you've got a ferry that goes, you can go down to Geelong and then you can make your way down to Port Arlington. And then from Port Arlington, you can go across the bay to Queenscliff, and then from Queenscliff to Sorrento, and you're on the other side of the bay. And that whole area, even though there are several restrictions for drone flying, if you go through all the paperwork, you can get part of it. Other than that, you've just got to work your way through all the specifications and qualifications. Yeah.
What about abroad? Anywhere that you overseas or?
Well, as I'm going to share this with a number of my drone friends, I would like to go to Florida, and South Florida in particular, Jensen Beach, Stewart area, and that would be my main thing. You know, there are other people in Louisiana that I do enjoy their company. Louisiana, Tennessee, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas. I think I forgot Massachusetts. I mustn't forget Massachusetts because I've got to give a really big shout out to Paul, who is part of this, and I've got to give a shout out to a couple of other people, Angie and I've forgotten his name. Oh, I just have to edit that one out. But they sent me this. They sent me this mug, and
Beautiful.
that is well, it's no longer called that the live stream that I co-host, but that was what it was, and then we reformatted the name.
So I was going to say, so because you're going over there very soon, aren't you? You're going over to the
It'll
States.
probably be April of next year.
Okay, April. All right.
Every April for the last 3, I have been invited to go there.
Yep.
And one thing or another has come up, but the 23.5 hour flight time is going to be a huge one because there is no direct flight there. So
gotcha.
The way I've got to go, the easiest way would be Melbourne to Dallas, and then find my way from Dallas to, we worked out it could be West Palm Beach or Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And that'd be the easiest. But I could easily go into Tampa and, work my way further out. But the easiest way would be to do it that way, and hoping that all the other people I know in all those other states get to Florida as well, so I don't have to trek my way through a couple of states to get there. It'd be great. It'd be a great road trip. And I reckon I could probably sell the rights to Netflix.
Droning across the states.
Hey, droning across the US.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. All right, brother. So thank you. I'll go into the last question if you want me to.
Yep, and we'll finish off on this. It said, what rules would you go by to attain life longevity? Now, this is a really interesting topic, and I speak from a real existential crisis of the tug of war of life, and I see that you can wrap yourself up in bubble wrap and basically try and get a few extra years out of your life and be a perfectly preserved specimen sitting in the old people's home for a long while. But at the same time, the old song, it's better to burn out than fade away. Unfortunately, you're halfway in, you don't want to get to an early grave. But at the same time, I think I'm going to boil it down to these several topics. Don't be reckless, but don't be boring. So
Yes.
I'm not going to jump off rooftops for that viral drone shot or trying to get myself on TikTok. TikTok, yeah. I don't know about these things. But I'll take calculated risks if I can mitigate the circumstances behind it. The other one is move your body and feed your brain, and staying alive. That song by the Bee Gees, it always goes through your mind. Stay curious. Always be curious, and that combo does keep the lights on upstairs and the hinges oiled well. Find work you don't hate, because if you get a job you enjoy, if you're gonna you'll never work a day in your life. And
Yeah.
this is I think this is the big one. The big one for me is keep a sense of humor. You can't
Yeah.
laugh at yourself or the absurdity of life. You're already halfway to a pine box. And unfortunately, people have become so serious these days. And I think if we just lightened up a little bit, everybody would feel a lot better, personally.
Totally agree.
And
Totally agree.
the one last thing, and this is probably the thing that I've learned a lot recently, except there is no perfect formula. You just live life as it is. And longevity is part luck and part discipline, and I think it's part of the genetic makeup of everybody. And at the same time, you want to enjoy yourself, but you don't want to be a complete dick to yourself. You do your best. You don't want to obsess, but you want to make the ride worthwhile. I just don't want. I don't want to live forever, but at the same time, I'd like to see a little bit more what's going on.
The 80-20 rule. So that's awesome information, Dominic. It's much appreciated. And so if you want to know more about Dominic, there it is there. There's his website. There it is there, northsidehawkdrone.tech.
Yep. And you can find me dicking about on YouTube, and that's the main aspect of it. And you can see what I do. And
Is it called Northside Hawk Drone?
just Northside Hawk, as you see my name under my name, you'll
Yep.
see that. Just
Nice
Northside Hawk.
Okay. And you're on LinkedIn as well, and
I'm on LinkedIn
Facebook.
as well. Yep.
And Facebook.
And I
as well.
do some. I have a few food reviews on there on my YouTube channel,
Cool.
where I review Vegemite. So I know everybody loves Vegemite.
Yep.
I do
it.
Vegemite. I do Anzac biscuits. I do
Couple of
Tim
sayers.
Tams. Now,
Yep.
just trying to explain to the Americans that don't understand those. And I also have given a bit of a cook and a bit of a Sunday roast to people that use Fahrenheit, that they don't understand what centimeters are, kilometers, and general measurements. So
So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Dominic, for coming on. Much appreciated for your time and the gold
Yep.
nuggets you gave today. Because that's I didn't know much about drones. I've never owned one, and I've only seen friends own them, and I didn't know much at all. So there's a lot of good information there. And thank you for coming on. And so I'm
No
going to give
worries.
you a access. So there it is. There's the username, free access, and go and check it out. So it's $11 you get for free, brother. So you get access to my health club for 30 days for free. We didn't
Okay.
get anyone to ask any questions, so
Yeah, I know.
because otherwise I would have given them access as well to my health club.
Mm.
So all right, thank you very much, Dominic. Much appreciated, brother. And I'll see you around anyway at the networking.
Yep.
Because you're down in Melbourne, I'm up here in Brisbane, Vegas, and yeah.
And I
Look
have
forward
to
to it.
I have to get up to Queensland because there are a number of people I know up there, and there's someone I won't mention Matt's name, but he owes me a hot dog. He owes me a hot dog.
Hot dog. There you go. Probably take you to the footy or something like that. We
Uh,
play we play a different football up here, but
yeah.
we do. Yeah, the Lions do play up here pretty regularly, and same with the Gold Coast. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you get to watch a couple of those games. All right,
Yep.
thanks very much, Dominic. You have a great day,
Okay.
guys.
Yeah.
You take care. And I'm Dr. Scott from Six Sense Acupuncture and the Healthy Habits Club, and you've been watching